Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing fine, whatever you are today. Now, there is a video that I want us to watch. There are 34 services that the US government will be cutting from giving its citizens, mainly known as food stamps. And this has affected a lot of people, and people are asking this question: why is it that this government is trying to cut off food stamps? Right? Is it for the development of the country, or is there something? Because there are a lot of people with different suggestions. Like, people are saying that the country is an oligarchy, and it means that the reason as to why they're cutting food stamps is because they're going to be funding the rich people that tried to endorse Trump himself, right? And in as much as people are trying to look at this in different perspective, there are a couple of things that we need to ask ourselves. The majority of people in the United States depended on the food stamp. What about the women that depended really on this food stamp? What about those people who didn't have jobs? What about people who had a lot of things that took their money? And the place that the government helped them is just offering this food stamp. So there are a couple of questions that a lot of the United States citizens are trying to ask, and a lot of people, I feel like they are outraged by this, especially people who benefited from this food stamp. Hey, I don't want to say much. I want us to watch this video. I'll be back, and then we'll have a proper discussion about it. If you're watching this video for the first time, I'll most definitely ask you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, so that we can get a lot of people that we can have the same discussion with. I don't want to say much. Let's get into it, and I'll be back. We'll talk about it.
34 things for working people that Republicans are now going to saying that they want to cut. Again, we don't have anything formal yet, but what happened was the Jody Arrington, the Republican from Texas, Congressman Arrington, he's on the House Budget Committee. I believe he's its chair. I might be wrong. But apparently via him, Politico just got their hands on this document about what the House Budget Committee is planning on cutting. Where the cuts are going to happen. How are they going to pay for the tax breaks for Elon Musk and for Mark Zuckerberg and for Donald Trump and for, all the other billionaires. And here's the list. Number one, they want to repeal major Biden health rules. This is going to save $420 billion. They're going to do away with mandatory staff minimums in nursing homes. They're going to do away with prohibitions of discrimination in Affordable Care Act plans, telehealth, and AI. They're going to do away with increased protections for people with disabilities. And they're going to do away with new network requirements for psychological services. So that they think is going to save them $400 billion. They want to, quote, strengthen Medicare for seniors. That's going to save them almost $500 billion. They're going to do this by doing away with what's called uncompensated care and bad debt. What this is Medicare reimburses hospitals that provide services to people who have no insurance and are broke, right? If you're poor and you show up at a hospital and they provide you with services, whatever you need, it is paid for by Medicare. And, through this fund. It's a large amount of money. And these are called disproportionate share hospitals. So cutting this is going to save hundreds of billions of dollars. It's going to mean hospitals are no longer serving people who don't have insurance. You're going to have a lot more people die. And a lot of rural and small hospitals are going to close, particularly hospitals in poor neighborhoods where a large percentage of the people showing up don't have the money to pay for services. They also say they want to make Medicaid work for the most vulnerable. This is $2.3 trillion. They're going to put into place per capita caps on Medicaid. That will cut Medicaid reimbursements by almost $1 trillion, $918 billion. In other words, basically, Medicaid is just not going to pay for things anymore. They're going to equalize Medicaid payments for able-bodied adults. This is $600 billion, $690. This is fancy language for saying if you can't get a job, you can't get Medicaid. And of course, once you get a job, you're no longer eligible for Medicaid. So it's a real catch-22. And that's the Medicaid work requirements. Reimagining the Affordable Care Act. There's $151 billion in cuts they want to make out of the Affordable Care Act. Are you noticing a trend here, by the way? All of these things that Republicans want to cut in order to pay for tax cuts for Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, all of these things are things so far that take care of average, people and poor people in America, particularly health-wise. They want to repeal the Prevention Public Health Fund, $15 billion. They want to, like I said, $151 billion in cuts to the Affordable Care Act. They want to, quote, end cradle-to-grave dependence. The first is reducing TANF by 10%. $6 billion, eliminating the TANF contingency fund. This is the program that basically costs us about $6 billion. This is the program that replaced basically, SNAP, food stamps. They want to eliminate the contingency fund, and they want to reform the so-called thrifty food plan. They say that's going to save $270 billion. This is basically cutting food stamps to hungry people. And they want to reverse the Biden climate policies. This is the first thing that they propose that doesn't mean less health care for people. They want to do away with the EV mandate, and they want to repeal the green energy grants. That's going to be $460 billion. And then they want to end the student loan bailout. That's $200 billion. And they want to cut $32 billion from federal employee benefits. And they want to do away with $200 billion in green energy tax credits and the child tax credit for people on Social Security.
Republicans in Iowa are preparing to pay millions of dollars to kick families off of food stamps. Reporting from the Washington Post shows Iowa's GOP is prioritizing cuts to food stamps, citing cost concerns, even though they have a $1.9 billion budget surplus. Imagine being in a position of power to dictate policy using funds, including a $1.9 billion budget surplus, and saying, oh, good, how can we make the lives of poor people more difficult? So the party of smaller government passed a policy that will implement a monitoring and verification system for new requirements to kick people off food stamps, which will cost $17 million in the first 3 years, rather than paying the $2.2 million it costs each year to provide food stamps. Compare the annual cost: $5.6 million to police the food stamp rolls versus $2.2 to feed people in need. Say it with me: poverty is a policy choice.
Listen, if you have food stamps that my tax dollars are paying for, good. I'm glad. Because guess what? I've been that mom. I've been that mom that needed food stamps to feed my kids. I've been that mom that rationed out money that I got on the 4th of every month to make sure that me and my kids were fed for the whole month. I've been the mom that needed that help. And luckily, I've been blessed in this life now to where I don't need that help anymore. But let me just tell you, I saw a video on here a couple of days ago, and the lady started the video with, it's EBT day. And she goes to Walmart and she shows everything that she puts in the cart. She buys snacks for her babies, she buys formula, she buys stuff for dinners, she does buy some sweets, and people were coming for her neck in the comments. Oh, glad my tax dollars could buy you candy. You didn't even buy food, you bought junk. Way to clear all the formula off the shelf. Y'all, be so for real. In the world we live in, be grateful that you have the means to pay the tax dollars that helps someone else, and you don't need that help yourself. And you might want to humble yourself because your situation could change very quickly. And you could be the next one looking forward to EBT day so that you can buy some groceries for yourself and your kids. So in conclusion, stop being a judgmental prick. Be grateful for what you have, and stop looking down on others that may not have as much as you. And be grateful that your tax dollars are helping put food in a child's mouth. I said what I said.
We're a family of 7. The best thing about it is when the food stamps hit. $2,500 each month isn't shit.
Oh look, the mom with 7 kids that gets $2,500 a month in EBT. Let's see how she's doing.
The Department of Children and Family literally just called me. I just got off the phone with them, and they are taking away all my benefits.
Oh no, I wonder why they're taking away your benefits that you bragged about getting online and plan to have another child and lean more into government-assisted aid. Let's find out.
Like,
Woo! Shit. Woo! Oh! Oh! Woo! Woo! Man, what a long day. Man. It'll do.
Did you know that the same people who are Maha Make America Healthy Again are the same people who went ballistic in 2010 when Michelle Obama said, let's move. Let's encourage our kids to make healthier choices. Let's talk about gardening. Did you also know that some of those same people are going to lose their benefits because part of the cuts are to SNAP programs, which is the food stamp program? So even though these people constantly vote against their own interest, Maha, did you know these same people who are absolutely for Maha now and will absolutely lose at least a portion of their benefits are going to end up paying more because, surprise, we pay the tariffs. Did you know that deregulation actually hurts the consumers, the American public? It's a great benefit to companies because then they don't have to spend time and money and resources, actually making sure that things are healthy and safe for us and, won't kill us. But, Maha.
I used to have food stamps. So basically, food stamps, people, you want me to be broke, homeless, but I can eat. What sense that made? Now I just got a big back, no place to stay, and no job. How do you qualify? Because you homeless. I need the food assistance because my money is for my bills. Them motherfuckers took when they took them, they done took them a couple of times. And I reapplied. They know I got a new car. Said, you make too much. So I'm just supposed to ride a horse my whole life. I'm just not supposed to get right, get on the good foot. I was just supposed to be just always asking for help in order to get help. So you don't want me to elevate. You want me to beg. And I know it's a way around it, but I can't believe the people from food stamps really got me fucked up. They got me messed up. That $400, I need that. Need it. Need it. Need it. Need it.
People don't know this. Okay. I remember at one point in your life, you got public assistance food stamps. They call them EBT cards now.
EBT card, food stamps.
And I remember, I used to, benefit from that. I used to come by and get me.
You were a food stamp recipient too. Just your name wasn't on it.
Yeah, okay. But I remember when you told me that I'm not getting any more public assistance. I'm cutting it off myself. I don't want to be on the system, and I'm going to school. Whatever you said, I didn't hear anything else after. I'm not going to be on because I was like, my steak dinner's going to be compromised.
Well, see,
What made you say I'm getting off?
So you just remember the food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Section 8, which I didn't pay any rent. I paid zero rent. I had food stamps, and they paid my light bill.
What did?
Yeah, right. But the reason I cut all of it off.
You cut it
all off. I didn't want to become a statistic. I didn't want to become, even though I was in the system, I didn't want it to be me to become like it to become a crutch. I didn't want to be a slave to the system. I knew people that would not go out and get a job because they didn't want to mess up their check. And so I knew that if I didn't have I had just finished beauty school. It was probably a dumb thing to do at the time. I didn't have a clientele. I fresh out of beauty school. I was doing my friend's hair in the apartment. But I knew that if I didn't have another choice, that I would go out and hustle and make it happen. And that's what I did.
I was mad at the time.
You were angry. You was like, you did what?
I was mad at first, but I was proud second.
And you know that very soon Mr. Donald Trump will be getting into the office, and a lot of people have different expectations from Mr. Donald Trump, right? And what I'm just saying is that I think there could be, it would have been better if they could have considered this group of people that don't have jobs What about people? Because people are paying taxes. The United citizens are paying taxes. They are paying taxes to get these government services, and yet, if this government services is being cut, why is it? Why is this money? Where will this money go? Right? This is a question that people are asking themselves, and I think it's important if we could find the best way to address this question, because there could be a lot of implications that are associated with this that we need to discuss. Because I feel like the people who are used to get these food stamps, the people who didn't have the jobs, the single mothers who used to really have these, it will be hard for them a little bit, because imagine you have no place to go. You have kids with you. The government is cutting off food stamps. There are a lot of things. There are a couple of things that could happen that will force or will make life so unbearable for people. So there are a couple of implications that will come with. Also, I think looking it on the broader side, cutting off of the food stamps maybe will increase resources, and the resources that will be used to build some sectors that the US government didn't build. Like, I noticed, like, there are no statutory plans. Like, look at what happened in the LA fires, right? If the government really had a statutory plan to curb these occurrences, it could have been easier. A lot of properties could have not been, gone away. People could have not been dislocated from where they lived. So it leaves people with a lot of questions. Why and how are they going to curb this? That's a question people are going to ask themselves. And even if the government is trying to scrap up some its services that you used to give its citizens, yet the citizens are still paying taxes. What are the new changes that are going to benefit these people? What as Mr. Donald Trump? Maybe we should wait for the inauguration so that we can get to hear his perspective in regards to what's really happening, because there's so much. Different people have different perspective in regards to what's really going on, and I think it's fair if we all sit down and wait and see the real plan of Mr. Donald Trump, because I feel like it's important for us to try give him chance, right? But at the same time, there are a couple of implications that I think I've just talked about them in a bit. There are a couple of implications that are important for us to understand, that if these food stamps are going to be cut, we are going to see enormous things, enormous activities, increased theft cases, people disillusioned, people committing suicide because people don't have jobs, people dependent on these, right? And those are implications. Now my question is, how is the government really gonna be dealing with this problem when it happens? Because this is prone to happen. Because just recently I saw people breaking into a store and stealing a couple of foods. And this means that when food stamps are being cut, there are a couple of implications that could come with this. So we're asking ourselves this question: what about the single mothers who don't have their dad? What about those people who don't have houses? What about those people who don't have jobs? How are they going to survive? What's the plan? What's the next move? I think Americans are so desperate to get to know the truth, because what's really happening is shocking. People don't know what's next, or what something that benefited them that will be cut. Because if you try to listen to how people talk, this is something that some people grew with these food stamps. Some people were like, it's something which is really important, right? And I'm so empathetic, and I understand. If somebody cuts something which is so important in your life, for example, a given funding that you usually get, like there's a feeling that you'll feel some type of way, and the feeling is not usually okay. So this leaves you as a person, makes you question a lot of things, makes you feel disillusioned, feel hopeless about everything which is happening around you. And I think people are just gonna be waiting for what's gonna be happening in the United States, because a lot of people are really pessimistic about the Trump's presidency. But I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone be safe in regards to everything which is happening across the country. Just maintain your safety, and I'm praying and hoping those people who lost their properties through the LA fires, they could get compensated. But we are here to find other couple of things which are here to come. So tell me what you think about this in the comment section. I really have to have this discussion with you, because it's important. It affects people, because food is a basic Food is a basic commodity to human life. Nobody can do without food, because even those people who are fasting, they could just fast for a couple of times. You are not Jesus, right? So tell me what you think about this in the comment section. I feel this is so important part of discussion. Until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.